U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee was taking this issue head on. I just want to repeat the numbers again very quickly. We have the latest Customs and Border Patrol numbers. In April 2021, there were nearly 179,000 encounters. That does not include the people who escaped encountering any U.S. Border Patrol when they were crossing the southern border. That's compared to in April of 2020, it was just 17,000 encounters. Much more controllable. I want to go right now to Senator Blackburn. Senator Blackburn, thanks for joining us on Sekulow today. So we talked about these numbers. We haven't seen anything like this in 20 years, and you've got a new piece of legislation to reinstate President Trump's migrant protection protocols. Why are these protocols so important right now?
Well, we're seeing the reason that these protocols worked right now. It sent a message that we were not going to tolerate people running across our border. And what has happened at that border is Biden's immigration policy. This is his open border policy. He has a Secretary of Homeland Security who does not believe in secure borders. So you have failed immigration policies from the Biden administration that have created a crisis at our border. And that's the story these numbers tell you. When you look at year-to-date numbers, when you look at the comparison to a year ago and see what has happened at that border, basically you have Joe Biden said, y'all come, and the cartels said, you better believe we're coming. And we're coming with drug trafficking, with human trafficking, with labor gangs, with MS-13 gangs, and we're on our way. And what we know is that over 500,000 illegal aliens have been apprehended at the border since Biden decided he was going to repeal President Trump's policy that forced these migrants to remain in Mexico while seeking asylum. So what my legislation would do would stop Biden's decision to catch and release these migrants into our communities, and it would reinstate President Trump's Remain in Mexico program. It will require these aliens that are seeking asylum at the southern border or without proper documentation, and bear in mind, we've got a lot that come without documentation. It would require them to go back to Mexico and to wait for their immigration hearings and proceedings.
And this is, again, I mean, to just for everybody to imagine out there, within months, Senator Blackburn, just off of these bad policies, we're seeing numbers. I mean, 500,000 people apprehended. That's the people apprehended. 170,000 plus a month after month after month.
Right. Let me say something right there for all of your listeners, is we're talking about 500,000 that have been apprehended since Joe Biden raised his hand and took his oath as President of the United States. Now, the problem that we hear from all of our Border Patrol, from ICE, from the local sheriffs on the border, is that is the number we know. What we do not know is the gotaways, the ones that did not get apprehended and are now running freely around the country.
That it is just, again, it hurts also. You know, we care about the I know you do as well, the people who are actually seeking asylum, the people who want to wait in line and do the right thing, the people who would wait in Mexico for their hearing because they have a justified reason to actually wait. But we have a current Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, who is saying it's not our fault. The system was broken that we inherited. And can we play it real quick? Let's play it.
Sure.
Please remember that we inherited a system that was dismantled in its entirety, and we had to really rebuild it.
The system was working. And Senator, that's really at the heart of your legislation. The system wasn't broken. The system was working. The numbers were low. It was something we could actually handle as a nation. It wasn't a crisis.
Well, you're correct about that. The system that President Trump and the Border Patrol had put in place was a system to protect this nation. Now, the Border Patrol has said for decades, we need three things. We need a wall. We need better technology because the cartels are very sophisticated. They're spying on us every day. They're watching our every move. And we need more boots on the ground down here at the border. Now, those three asks of the Border Patrol, President Trump was addressing those. They were giving them more agents. They were giving them better technology. And they were building a wall. And right now, Joe Biden has, everything needed to build the wall panels, the equipment, the concrete. It is all right there laying in the dust at the border. And we're hearing from these ranchers and families and property owners that live there on the border. And they are finding people on their border. Their land is just being ransacked. They are finding out in their property these backpacks that the cartels have people carry. And this is on private property. These are ranchers that are losing the ability to ranch because their property is being torn up by these individuals that are coming on their property. And these are individuals that are trying to run their farms. They are trying to ranch their cattle. And their freedom and their property rights are being violated because the cartels are running people through their property.
We know trafficking is part of this as well, and you've talked about that. I know Than Bennett from our Director of Government Affairs got a question about that too, Senator.
Yeah, Senator, you've done so much great work on these issues. Our audience is very grateful. I wanted to ask you about the piece of legislation that you have introduced to address the trafficking issue called the Child Trafficking Now Act. I know it requires DNA testing of a parent or an adult who enters with a child. Senator, my question, this seems like a no-brainer to me. It seems like something that the Senate should pass by unanimous consent in a heartbeat. Are you hearing from your Democrat colleagues on that bill? To me, that's a no-brainer place to start.
Well, the Child Trafficking Act is something that, interestingly enough, and as astounding as it is, we can't seem to get bipartisan support on this. It is very simple. It says if you come to our border and you have a child with you who you don't have the documentation to show that that child is related to you, then you have to take a DNA test. This is to protect children. This is one of those things that we are doing to protect children who are being trafficked, because we know that the cartels are utilizing a process that is called child recycling. Think about that. It is child recycling. And in order to get people across the border, what do? They put a child with that adult. Once they are across the border, the child is abandoned. The child has a phone number and address written on their arm, and that child then is returned to that cartel or to that family. There are children that the Border Patrol have seen come through several times. This is child abuse. To do this to children, to not say, okay, you can't prove this is your child, you're going to stand for a DNA test. And if you are not that child's parent, you're going to be booted out of this country. I mean, this is inconceivable. We would allow this type of trafficking of children to continue.
It is inconceivable, but you are fighting for us. I want to thank you, Senator Blackburn, as always, for fighting for us the issues that matter so much. Thank you, Senator. And we'll talk to you next time.
Talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll talk to you next time.